Before we start about this, I'm going to say this out loud. I'm a big Budweiser fan.
Before we even finish this, let's just say I got up the other day, or yesterday. Not necessarily got up, but I went on Twitter, and to my surprise, Whippy's trending, and that's why we're getting into this video. So let's let Whippy continue.
Before we start about this, I'm going to say this out loud. I'm a big Budweiser fan. When I drank, I liked my Budweiser, okay? So I have a lot of feeling about this. Budlight's ad campaign with trans influencer Dylan McDermott.
Got the name wrong. Don't even know who she talking about.
Mulvaney, sorry.
Now you're breaking
Ignited.
We have breaking news today.
That's right. Ignited an angry conservative backlash and a boycott that included online trends of people posting videos destroying cases of Bud Light in various stupid ways. The company puts out a statement saying they didn't mean to address an issue that divided people. But I want to know, what are you so angry about? Beer does not have I mean...
First of all, the company put out a statement that says they didn't mean to put something out to divide people. You put a man on a can that said, "Welcome to 365 days of being a girl. Cheers to 365 days of being a girl." Women are going to feel a certain type of way, let alone men. But women are going to feel some type of way. Period. And I've been saying we need to stand up for our women more. So we're going to feel some type of way. You can't just put on a costume and just say that what you want to be, you are. If that's the case, when we ask our children, what do you want to be when they grow up, and they say a dinosaur, we should be like, oh, okay, you can be that. I'm pretty sure some people out there who will say, yeah, you can. At this point, there's no surprise.
It's not a Democrat or a Republican. Yeah. It doesn't have a belief system. It's just beer.
Whippy, boy, oh boy. Whippy. It's not about just the beer. It's the principle. Whippy, it's not just about the beer. It's a large company trying to push an agenda. Whippy!
I think that these people that were destroying...
Oh, don't get her started. Who gave her the mic?
Their own beer, which is also kind of dumb.
Well, thanks for the money.
Yeah, right? They also are making this out to be a this is a transphobic issue, right? We know that this country is highly transphobic. And it's unbelievable to me that this still goes on.
Let's say that many of the
transphobic. So she's stepping into that lane with Gabrielle Union, saying that trans are being hunted down every day. Did they talk about the shooting that just happened in Nashville? Did they? Did they talk about these different mass shootings that involved trans? Did they? Just asking out of curiosity, because if they didn't, they're part of the problem.
Transphobic people get the attention. I doubt that the country's as transphobic.
I hope the country is not as transphobic as it appears.
Whoopi saying something that makes a little bit of sense. Listen to me. Just because I may not agree with your way of thinking does not mean that I hate you. Does not mean that I'm scared of you. Nothing like that. I'm a follower of Christ, but there are many people out there who don't agree with that. There are many people out there who are anti-Christ, who are anti-Christian. Do I feel like, well, actually, they might really hate me, or they might actually really do hate Christians, but that's different. There's people who just aren't Christian. There's people who are just a different religion. Do I believe those people hate me? No. No. Granted, many of them do, but the word says that they hate. Remember, they hated me first. But to put us in the category of being transphobic because we don't agree with gender affirming healthcare, which is allowing people to have surgery on themselves, or children to have surgery on themselves, children to take puberty blockers, things like that, because we'll say they're too young to consent of these things. That puts us in a category of being transphobic. Can you believe that? It puts us in a category of they think that we hate them or we hunting them down. No. Don't get it twisted. We love everyone. That's them feeding you a narrative, a false narrative, to get you mad, to get you angry, to get you upset, and to cause division and confusion. They're part of wicked elite, the wicked elite system. They're puppets for them. They get paid, they get all these things to say certain things. And because they're high names like Gabrielle Union, Dwayne Wade, they put them on a pedestal. They put them on a certain platform that allow them to be front line in a lot of these things to make it seem like it's actually true, when in fact it's false. None of us, we are on no trans. Come on.
Sorry to
but
interrupt.
trans rights are under attack all over the place.
Yeah.
Now, this is, and people are saying, this is an American beer. This is a Belgian company, okay? Like, it's not even like... Anheuser-Busch is a Belgian company that doesn't only sell Bud Light, but sells, like, beer in, like, 130 countries and stuff, and, like, all over the world.
Yes.
And all kinds of beers.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so dumb to me.
Well, also, listen, if it's an American beer...
Sonny was the same person who said American flags on the lawns scare her, on people's lawns scare her. How is she still on The View? How is she still on The View? By the way, every one of their views is ridiculous. How are they all still on The View? We need somebody on there that has a different opinion than this. You got a lot of people watching The View like, yeah. Terrible views.
Transgender people are American, too. LGBTQ people are American, too.
So weird.
They have, and the LGBT community has close to 1.4 trillion spending power. And some of it they spend on Bud Light.
Yeah.
So,
Hello.
But you know, I mean, look, this is part of a bigger campaign. Republicans are using all LGBTQ issue, whether it's transgender, whether it's...
No, they don't.
They are using all, this paranoia, this fear, building this stress, building this idea that your kids are going to turn into whatever if they see, an influencer posting, if they see a drag queen.
First of all, who is this? Where did she come from? They put another person on there with a terrible view. You think it's just about Dylan Mulvaney being on a beer can? It's the overall agenda. They're in schools. They're in sports. They're in church. Being pushed and pushed and pushed. And the moment we say we don't agree with it, for some reason we're phobic to whatever it is. That's nothing more than them trying to convince us that we're bad for having a different opinion. We're wrong. We're hunting them down. What kind of buffoonery is this? This is on ABC. What is The View just really? And these are the type of shows that be turned on in different homes. Stuff like this be brainwashing people. Stuff like this, stuff like CNN, different celebrities and social media, public influencers being paid and being puppets. Boy, oh boy.
In the meantime, The NRA had their convention this last weekend.
Yeah.
And there were little kids as young as 6 years old. I think we have pictures, playing with guns at the NRA convention.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we've had 19 mass shootings since last Saturday. So tell you what, when a kid shows up with dying from a drag queen wound,
Yeah.
then we can do equivalency of danger.
Okay, what about Nashville? You had 3 kids their lives were taken, 3 adults whose lives were taken from a transgender. Boy, oh boy. But somebody call the manager, somebody call whoever's leading The View and tell him I need to get on there. Get him a different view.
And a kid shows up at your door
Yes.
because he
Thank
came
you.
to the wrong address, and somebody whips out a gun and shoots him
In the head.
in the head.
Twice.
There's something wrong going on, but maybe
Ralph,
maybe it's an issue that you know, this person, this wonderful young person has 10 million TikTok followers.
Ralph? Oh, no.
And
you mean
no,
the
and
transgender.
some of the people, who were, you know, shooting up their beer that they bought
that
with
they
their own money,
purchased.
maybe didn't have as million.
Well, I
didn't have as many followers
I also
as the
thought
other
it was
people.
genuinely a smart
There are many people with millions of followers who are going against this Whoopi. What are you talking about? It has nothing to do with with how many follow. Boy, oh boy. Where are we? Where are we? Where? I mean, what is going on? Have you ever had the feeling like everybody else is just robots? Like, and you just going through some kind of simulation, like you're here, but are these people real?
move by Budlight. Like, they need to make inroads with the LGBTQ community, who, I'm sorry, tends to like
And
craft
young
beer and
people.
skinny cocktails,
And young
not
people.
Bud Light. So it's like
young
they're reaching a
people.
community
Who in the world?
that's probably not drinking enough Bud Light.
Who is this? Who are these new guests on The View? Granted, I don't watch The View, so I wouldn't know if they got new co-host. But I've never seen her or the other lady, unless they just guessed today. They decided to bring on guests who had the same view as these other people.
Well, and she's a great person
It
to
was
go
to
through.
congratulate her for a milestone of a
Yes.
year being more authentic to
Yes.
herself, and I thought that said a lot about the PR for Budweiser. But
They were, for a year, being more authentic to herself. You thought that said a lot about the PR of Budweiser. Boy, oh boy.
don't dial it back now because you're going to lose everyone.
But they did
Yes.
start dialing it back
Yes,
because
they
they
did.
unleashed the Clydesdale horses.
That's right.
Now
That's
all
right.
of a sudden they got this trans, like, you know, this.
No, the
this-
horse is not trans.
No,
no.
I'm saying all of a sudden they get this what am I
The
thinking?
Clydesdale horses
no, I'm
galloping
thinking they're getting
through.
this backlash,
Yeah.
and their
So
response
they
is,
harnessed it in.
let's get the horses out. Like,
That's
I was like, because the horses are so much more American than
thing is-
trans people.
Listen,
Like,
all I can tell you is I'm old enough to remember when these Republican hypocrites were against cancel culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
So she's basically trying to say that we're trying to bring Dylan Mulvaney into cancel culture. Boy, oh boy, how they flip things. It's not necessarily about bringing Dylan Mulvaney into cancel culture. It's just, it's them trying to normalize something. Listen, you can't. It's them trying to normalize something that should not be normalized. It's a false reality. How do you cancel something that's not even meant to be in the first place? Boy, oh boy.
Listen, Budweiser, we're all Americans here. We appreciate your beer, whether it's light or the regular beer. You have every right, and we have every right to buy it if we like it. Don't let them scare you.
Right.
Boy, oh boy, we heard enough, Whoopi. We've heard enough of Whippy. There it goes. We heard enough of Sealy. Enough is enough. Nobody hates Dylan. They're pushing a false narrative that we hate people like this. In fact, I love them enough to be honest, to be real. These type of people is the ones you have to worry about because they're rewarding something that should have a cure. But they don't understand the spiritual aspect of life. They're so caught up in this carnal flesh, this matrix, that they're just going along with different things that are dangerous. It's a spiritual prison that these people be in. And what they're doing is rewarding it. Lord have mercy. May the Lord shed light on the darkness. May the Lord lift the veil up off of even Dylan Mulvaney's eyes for him to come into repentance, as well as all of these sisters on The View, because their view is distorted. Clearly don't have 20/20 vision. Clearly. Each and every one of them needs some kind of prescription. Boy, oh boy. Let's continue praying for people like this, you guys. Pray for the world. Pray for the darkness. Continue to allow the Lord to illuminate through you. Amen. Continue sharing truth, stepping up and speaking truth. Amen. Love you guys. God bless.